Hello, and welcome back to another winter at Woolshift Dust. We are putting a pause on your pause on our regularly scheduled programming, and it is time for another round of Christmas carols, as in the Dickensian adaptations. I'm Elysia, here with Luke. And Luke, what is your favorite Christmas carol in terms of the songs?
Oh, ooh, you put me on the spot there, Alicia.
Sorry.
Um, it's a very basic answer, but it's got to be Silent Night.
Okay,
It's
no,
a, it's
that's
a
lovely.
very it's a very basic answer, but yeah, give me like a good choral version of Silent Night, and it always makes me well up. Because
Ghost is singing along too.
because my brain instantly goes from Silent Night to Armistice 1914 to the Christmas Armistice in 1914, and
Okay.
that always gets me right in the feels.
Do you want to quickly say what that is for the people who don't know?
So there's an armistice, a temporary ceasefire agreed on Christmas Eve, 1914, height of the First World War. The story that is often told, and some people will tell you it's apocryphal, some people will tell you that it's true, is that the British soldiers around Ypres hear the Germans singing Silent Night, because Silent Night is one of those songs that basically, however you translate it into most European languages, it still fits the tune. So British soldiers hear the German soldiers singing Silent Night. They start singing back, and over the course of the day, they climb out the trenches. They exchange food. They exchange cigarettes. They exchange gifts. There's a football match that is
Mm-hmm.
played, and actually, the ceasefire sort of drags on inconclusively for several days afterwards. It's the only time during either the First or Second World War that a truce was agreed for Christmas, because actually both high commands have a hard time getting the soldiers to start fighting the war again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I've read that it was because it was such a long front that you said some people say that it's apocryphal, some people say yes, it's really true, and I've read that in some places it happened and in others it didn't, which would
Yeah,
account for the discrepancies.
yeah.
I guess, I'm gonna go for I'm definitely not like a religious person, but I really like the French version of Oh Holy Night.
Okay, I don't think I've heard the French version.
Minuit chrétien. That's I don't know why I learned it in French and I don't even know all the English words, but I just it's so powerful and heartfelt and in a minor key. So that's
Okay.
kind of my jam. Well, we are here to talk about, of course, the Charles Dickens version of A Christmas Carol, named after the music, but actually prose. And last year's book club, we covered the novella itself, plus an audio adaptation of The Goblins Who Stole a Sexton, a short story that was kind of a warm up for all this Christmas writing that Charles Dickens did. Those are for Supercast and Patreon subscribers. Stick around to the end; we'll mention more about that. But this year's book club, since we already did last year the novella itself, this year we did the second novella in the Christmas series, The Chimes. And Luke, what is your for those who don't have access to those episodes, what is your quick hot take on The Chimes and how do you think it relates to A Christmas Carol?
I enjoyed the chimes. I didn't think it was as good as A Christmas Carol. It is Charles Dickens at his most purplish in terms of prose. There is a long description, and you talk
Of the
about this
wind.
of wind. It's also a lot more, although A Christmas Carol obviously has social and political commentary. I think the chimes is much more pointed, much more blunt. In that commentary, I enjoyed it. I listened to an audio book version of it narrated by Richard Armitage, Thorin Oakenshield himself from Hobbit. And that comes if you're an Audible member, that comes free with your Audible membership. It was a Christmas gift a couple of years back from Audible. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't think I enjoyed it quite as much as A Christmas Carol, but then again, I've sort of the Christmas Carol story has lived with me since I was a kid. So, and this is
Yeah.
the first time I've listened to the chimes. So, different
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, it was my first time at the chimes too. I mean, part of me maybe likes it slightly even better than A Christmas Carol, but I think that might just be the novelty. I definitely have a recency bias in
Yeah,
all
okay.
things. Yeah, so but it is also what I like about it is more grounded and adult.
I think it's certainly more grounded. I'm not sure I'd say it was more adult than A
I
Christmas
mean,
Carol.
there's a lot darker themes going
Yeah,
on
no, that's definitely true.
in terms of like the prostitution, alcoholism, drinking yourself to death.
Suicide.
Yeah, and yeah, infanticide.
Yeah, maths as well. Lot of satire based on math. A lot of maths based satire.
The darkest of all.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, so we might refer to those. We will, of course, talk about the novel A Christmas Carol. I definitely recommend listening to the previous classics episode we did last year if you haven't yet, because that's where we sort of laid out a lot of things about the novel there as well. And that's when we probably covered most of your favorites. So last year's classics, we really packed it in. We covered a 6-minute short film, the very first ever from 1901 called Scrooge. We covered a 13-minute 1910 film, A Christmas Carol, which was the first surviving complete adaptation. We covered the classic Alistair Sim from 1951. We covered the 1970 musical with Albert Finney called Scrooge. They're all called either Scrooge or A Christmas Carol mostly. We covered the 1971 animated short, A Christmas Carol, that won an Oscar. We covered Mickey's Christmas Carol. We covered the 1984 George C. Scott one. We covered the 1992 Muppets Christmas Carol. So listen to that if you want to hear our conversation about that. And we covered in that episode the 1999 Patrick Stewart A Christmas Carol.
I think it's interesting with the ones we're going to cover today. There's definite parallels with one of the ones we're going to cover with the Finney 1971, in that it was a
Mm-hmm.
musical, and I think the two musical ones are staged. And the Jim Carrey version that we're going to look at today, I think shares a lot of DNA with the Alistair Sim version, the 1951
Okay.
version. So
A
there's
lot of
definitely a lot of crossover there.
Yeah, and a lot of people compare the 1935 one that we're going to talk about today to the 1951 Alistair Sim one too. Um, but yeah, the ones that I just listed, we are not talking about them this year. We also talked about last year. We did multiple episodes, and in the other episodes we talked about Scrooged from 1988. We talked about Flintstones Christmas Carol from 1994. We talked about A Diva's Christmas Carol from 2000. It's Christmas, Carol with Carrie Fisher from 2012. The Man Who Invented Christmas from 2017. We did a special shorter episode that was dedicated to Dickens and the writing of this book. We talked about three from 2022, big year for A Christmas Carol. We talked about A New Diva's Christmas Carol, Scrooge, A Christmas Carol, which was an animated one based on that Albert Finney musical that Luke was just mentioning. And we talked about Spirited, the one with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah. I was just listening back to our episode. So, what I have in my head is from our first episode. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much. Yeah, I was watching the two musicals we're going to look at today, and thinking this is cool, but there's nothing up there with thank you very much in terms
Yeah,
of just being out and out earworm.
there's one that I have got stuck in my head afterwards, although I just knocked it out with thank you very much. We'll talk about that when we get to the musical. Um, yeah, so what we are covering today, and you'll find links, by the way, to the previous episodes in the show notes. What we are covering today, we're going back to the classics. We're going to talk about two versions named Scrooge, both starring Seymour Hicks as Scrooge. And so we've got the 1913 40-minute short, and there's the 1935, yeah, that's an hour and 17 minutes, and it is the first talkie feature length version. Both again, starring Seymour Hicks. So we're going to talk about them together, and you will find links in the show notes to where you can watch these films yourself on YouTube. And then we're going to talk about two films named The Stingiest Man in Town. And that's the musicals that we were talking about. They have exactly the same music. One is 1956 live action TV special that was lost for decades and then found. And then the other is a 1978 animated remake of it, less than an hour from Rankin Bass, which is kind of like the kings of Christmas in my childhood, at least. And then finally, we're going to end with A Christmas Carol, 2009, the animated one where Jim Carrey plays Scrooge, that's on Disney Plus. And Luke, I see you're about to say something, and you told me something that shocked me before we started
Yeah,
recording.
I'd never heard of Rankin and Bass
And
before
you've
this.
never seen like the Frosty
Nope,
you've never seen the Rudolph
nope,
claymations. Oh,
nope,
wow.
nope.
Oh, we need to do just like a Rankin Bass. And this this one that you're starting with. I mean, I'm saying I have in the notes here, let's save our hot takes for the discussions themselves, but I will say here, all Rankin and Bass is good Rankin and Bass, but this is maybe the weakest one I've seen.
Oh, we should just say, because a couple of people asked last year whether we were going to do TV specials. We've
Right.
decided to put that off a year. We've already got plans for Christmas 2026. So, all the TV specials we can think of, we're going to do as episodes in 2026. But we wanted to work our way through more movies and TV movies this year.
Yeah, we'll preview at the end some more. Yeah, what we're doing in the other episodes. I know one request was Mr. Magoo. And we'll still do that one. That's a animated short in twists. And but for example, I know Paul, you asked us to do the Blackadder one. We're saving that for our TV special next
Yeah,
year.
I just didn't want you hanging on there,
Yeah.
Paul, waiting for when are they going to get to Blackadder. We will get to it, but next year.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll talk about what else we're covering this year at the very end. But let's
Yeah.
get into the films themselves. So let's start back at the beginning. We've got Seymour Hicks as Scrooge two ways. We've got the 1913 Scrooge, it was called when it first released. It was actually released in the United States in 1926 as Old Scrooge. Fine. It's a 40-minute silent short. And we've got Scrooge from 1935, which is the first feature length talkie. And there was the first feature length was actually 1919, The Right to Be Happy. And the first talkie was 1928, also called Scrooge. And that was just a short that was 9 minutes long. But both of these are now unfortunately lost. So we won't be. So this is the first feature length talkie, and it's the first surviving in either category. Also. But there is someone named Kevin Brown Jr. who said a few months ago that he is going to try to restore the Right to Be Happy from 1919 using stills. So I don't know. We'll see if that becomes anything. But Luke, what did you think about these two films?
Well, for the first one, for the silent one, I always have to caveat any review of a silent movie because I never feel like you get the proper experience that a cinema audience would have
Mm-hmm.
gotten watching that. Because obviously, for the cinema audience, there would have been a musical accompaniment. There would have been somebody playing piano
Mm-hmm.
alongside it, so you don't really get the experience that the audience would have got watching it first time
Yeah.
around. Um,
We watched a version, and the version that's linked does not have music. And
does
I'm
not
sure
have
there are
music,
versions out there that have music added to it. But yeah.
but I thought actually for a silent film of its era, it was really quite heavy on text.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of cutaways to explain what was going on, and that's because actually I think A Christmas Carol is quite difficult to sort of stage by mime and sort
Mm-hmm.
of physical acting. There has to be a lot of explanation of who people are, what they're
Yeah.
saying to each other.
We saw that
Um,
1901 struggled with that.
yeah, and also In similar to the 1901 version, they try to keep like the number of sets to an
Right.
absolute
Minimal.
minimum as well. So
Yeah.
it's very much Scrooge is standing in a room. The ghost comes to Scrooge standing in a room. The ghost and Scrooge talk. They stand in the same room, but it's dressed differently. So it's a
Yeah.
schoolhouse, or it's Fezziwigs, but they're
Mhm.
clearly standing in the same room.
Because that's the studio and that's where the camera points.
Yeah,
So that's where the action must happen.
yeah. I mean, I thought it was well acted, and I thought I thought like the cuts in the story made sense because obviously you can't put a 3 hour book in a 40-minute short without cutting stuff out. But I don't think they cut anything in a way that spoiled the pacing of the
Hmm.
story. I thought the
Right.
1935 one added some stuff that was weird.
Okay.
So in A Christmas Carol, they talk about the Lord Mayor's banquet, but in the 1935 version, they actually show it for some reason, which I didn't see
Hmm.
quite what that added to the story.
I see. I thought that you were going to like that they had the 1935 one has several food focused montages. And I thought that you were going to be into that aspect.
Yeah, I do like the food. I do like me a good food focused montage, but I'm not sure I really needed the Lord Mayor's banquet
Okay.
putting on screen for reasons.
Okay.
And also, you can tell it's that era of British filmmaking where, regardless of the class of the character, they all talk with very received pronunciation. Everybody is very sort of well spoken, don't you
Yeah.
know?
It was funny when we got to the most modern one we're talking about today, the Jim Carrey one, and the Cratchits actually spoke with a lower class accent. I was like, oh yeah, right, 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 right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, because and I think like Seymour Hicks, who plays Scrooge in both the 1913 and the 1935 one, you can tell this is
Hmm.
an actor. This is a Shakespearean actor with
Well,
a
he
lot of
he
stage experience.
he played Scrooge on stage since at least 1901. He played him hundreds of times on stage before he
Okay.
did this. But I think it's really interesting to compare his performance between the two because um in the silent film, he's so over the top and he kind of is the best part of it, just his over the top acting. But then in the talkie film, well, first of all, it's great that he can do that. He has the right voice, he has the right mannerisms, and he's also in the interceding 20 years he's grown into the role more, and he can pull it back in and be a lot more human, realistic
Yeah.
in the talkie one.
Although I did think the bit about the 1935 one that I sort of had a bit of a problem with was the first haunting, the interaction between Scrooge and Marley, because Marley isn't really shown. He's just in shadow, and therefore Hicks has nothing to act against.
Hmm.
And so it's a bit weird. And I know it's supposed to be overwrought on Scrooge's part, but I think it was possibly a bit too overwrought
I
in his
mean,
performance.
okay. Um, yeah, see, because I was comparing it with the 1913, and I thought it was pulled back more. But they do have these sort of lo-fi vibes in the 1935 one. Like literally, the credits are literally someone turning pages, which is cute. I thought that they made really great economical use of the cinematography. Like there's a lot of influence of German expressionism there, which
Yes,
is, that
yeah, the
those hard shadows. And like there's one part where Scrooge's head is framed in a pointing shadow of the ghost of Christmas yet to come. And I think that was
yeah.
really
I
effective.
mean, if you wanted to sum up like the cinematography in a word, it would be Brechtian. There is something
Okay.
sort of very Brechtian about yeah, very like you say, very German, very minimalist, very sort of leaving it to the audience's imagination. Lots of like banging windows and
Hmm.
creaking floorboards as well.
I mean, I think I liked how they handled the ghosts in the 1935 one. We've got Invisible Marley, that was interesting. But it's also, there was something creepy about it. The fact that he could clearly see this ghost and we couldn't. And then we have Christmas Past as like a glowy outline, which, you know, given the effects they have in the day, yeah, that's a good choice to
Yeah,
make. The present was just a person dressed like Bacchus, which, yep, support that. Go
yeah.
for it. And then the future is a shadow, which I think um, comes back in an interesting way in the last movie we're going to talk about today. But I appreciate the choices they made. The 1913 movie only had one ghost. There was only Marley.
Yeah, well, that was the same in the silent ones we looked at last.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
apparently, like if you were staging a Christmas Carol on stage, that's often a choice that was made because
hmm,
you kept the number of actors to a minimum
right,
that way. So quite a lot of stage adaptations of a Christmas Carol have Marley playing himself, but also the ghosts of
hmm,
Christmas past, present,
yeah.
and yet to come.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying that the 1913 one is wordy, which, by the way, the 1913 one was directed by Leadham Bantock, who was, coincidentally, before this, the first actor to ever play Santa Claus in a film in the 1912 film called Santa Claus.
That's
Um,
amazing.
and he was the managing director of Zenith Films, and they're the ones who produced this. Although I was like, I saw it was distributed by Pathé, which is the major theater chain here, and I forgot that Pathé is that old. Pathé is the oldest operating film group, or theater group, cinema group in the world. But anyway, so Leadham Bantock, the director, he's also in the film, but I couldn't find credits to link what part he played. But I'm guessing based on his looks, I think he might have been the nephew,
Okay, okay,
but I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
okay.
If anybody knows, let me know. I tried looking.
When
Yeah.
I say it's wordy, I mean it's wordy. It's obviously not wordy by modern
No.
cinema standards, but for a silent film, it's quite wordy.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of, they really pulled pretty much all the text directly from the books.
They did,
Yeah.
and you can tell that this is a text they expect the audience to be familiar with.
Mm. Which is fair.
Yeah,
Although and it's not their fault. They could have never predicted that more than 100 years in the future, it would be impossible to hear "Good afternoon" and not laugh.
yeah. No, good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon. Oh. um, but yeah, I mean, as far as the 1913 one, I didn't like it. My favorite of the silent films, we've now seen 3 silent films. My favorite of them would be the 1910 one from last year.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
I think I would agree with that simply because it's the most ambitious of
Mhm.
the three in terms of the cinematography of it, and
Yeah, and the
I
VFX.
particularly like the way the color filter changes on it. So it goes
Yeah.
from brown to blue to sort of black and white and back again.
Yeah. This does a little bit, it differentiates between, like, it opens, with this, like, kind of quick historical writing of framing about Dickens' father being sent to the workhouse and all of that as his inspiration, and there's some color changes between that and then also the later indoor and outdoor. They do color toning, slight differences, but it's not, it's like, it's 3 years after this 1910 film, and it's doing a lot of the same tricks, but at a lower level, I think,
Yeah,
with the ghosts
yeah.
and everything. Yeah.
By the way, for the 1935 film, there is a colorized version of
I know. I
it.
haven't watched it, yeah.
That is, it's substantially shorter. It's 53
Oh,
minutes.
what?
So I don't know. I haven't watched the whole thing, so I don't know what cuts
Mhm.
they made. But I did watch a few minutes of it, and I thought you definitely made the right choice to go for the black and white version because it's like my nephew has been unleashed on it with his
Crayons.
crayons. Yeah, it's very weird.
Okay. Um, yeah, so but yeah, just to wrap up with my thoughts on the 1913 one, as you said, there's no music in this version. It is long for this type of silent film, and I don't think it accomplished, like, the 1910 one was shorter and did more with that
Yeah,
time, I feel like. But it's also, this one wasted time on weird things. Like, it added a poor woman who comes in with her baby to ask for charity into Scrooge's office before then the charity men come in after that. Like, why are we
Yeah,
adding
it felt
this?
like it really needed to hammer home the point that Scrooge is mean.
Yeah. It's like if he's already rejected the woman with the baby directly, he's not going to give it to some middleman. um um yeah, and that whole setup just ends up taking up half the movie.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
and I mean, the ghost effect was as cool as ever. It's not new to us at this point. We've seen it in the previous ones. They did do a cool kind of triple layering shot where they had Scrooge on set with a ghostly Marley next to him looking at these visions because they couldn't leave that room, obviously. So they're looking at these visions, and it's like layering 3 shots on top of each other.
yeah.
And it was cute also when they did snowing at the end, they just kinda, like, scratched the film.
Yeah, so
Just
there is
damaged
no
it.
actual snow. Like you can see what they've done is they've just like dragged a pencil or
Yeah.
something like that, or a scalpel down the film to make
Right,
it look like
exactly.
it's snowing.
Exactly. Um, and so the 1935 one by the way, I almost included 1938 too, but this was part of, like, where we're trying to cut back the number at once, so next time for 1938. But this one obviously directly links because again, same Seymour Hicks Scrooge. This one, the 1935, is directed by Henry Edwards for Twickenham Film Studios, and this was apparently their first film release. And President Franklin Delano Roosevelt showed this film at the White House on Christmas night in 1935.
Cool.
Yeah, I I personally think overall, Seymour Hicks, and especially this version, is one of the best Scrooge portrayals.
No,
You
I can't. No, I can't go. I can't go with you there, Alicia. I think it's
Okay.
fine. I think it's fine.
Mhm.
I think it's perfectly okay. But I do think that there are points, particularly with Marley and particularly with the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. I know it's Scrooge is supposed to be overwrought in those moments, but I thought it was a bit much. I thought it was a bit hammy, to be honest.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um, this one, when I was looking into seeing what people thought of it in general, I see it all the time compared with the 1951 Alistair Sim version, and it is, by the way, interesting. We talked about the 2 Alistair Sim versions last year. He's the other one who's played Scrooge twice, decades apart. And yeah, I understand if you want me to directly compare it with the Alistair Sim version, this one is probably more faithful. This one's probably one of the most
Mm.
accurate. But as I said last year, I like how the 1951 one adapts, you know?
Yeah, I think you get a better sense of who Scrooge is in the 1950s. Before, I mean, when I say that, I mean before the hauntings happen. I think the
Mhm.
Sim one broadens out Scrooge's character. There's that scene in the 1951 one, which I really think adds something. It's a very short scene, but it's with Scrooge at the inn, and the waiter comes up to him, Scrooge asks for more bread, and then the waiter says, "That'll be an extra halfpenny," and Scrooge says, "I'll do without the bread." Because I think one of the things that gets underplayed in A Christmas Carol is that Scrooge is not only mean to other people, it's that he stints himself. It's that
Mhm.
he doesn't, and he's got all this money, but he doesn't. Like Fred says, he doesn't make himself comfortable with it. He doesn't do anything with it. He
Right.
just acquires it. He just sits on it. So it's not only that Scrooge is mean, it's that
Mhm.
Scrooge is, yeah, that he stints himself basically for no particular reason.
Yeah. I mean, and that is with you didn't like the banquet sequence, but that is, they were contrasting there, these fancy pantsy men with Scrooge and his simple pub fare.
Yeah, that's true.
What do we think about the Cratchit food situation later? Is that a bit unrealistically generous setting at the table?
I think it might be as well. And I was sort of wondering, watching that is, this is 1935. This is, just recovering from the Great Depression. This
Mhm.
is, in the UK, there would still be areas of very high unemployment in 1935. Now, obviously, there's the beginnings of the welfare state, so it's not exactly Dickensian conditions, but there are going to be people watching that film that aren't much better off
Mm-hmm.
materially than the Cratchits, or
Hmm.
only sort of a few degrees better off than the Cratchits.
It's like when I watch Friends and see the alleged apartments they have in New York.
Yeah. So I wonder whether it was like the Cratchit situation was made to look slightly better because they didn't want it to hit too close to home
Hmm.
for like members of the audience.
Yeah. They want it to be escapism with all that food.
Yeah. Or at least like the amount of food that like
Mm-hmm.
people would recognize it as not a lot of food, but about the amount of food that they would have at Christmas, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Mm-hmm.
would make more of a direct comparison. But yeah, it just struck me like what the audience, what would the audience have been thinking at that point? Because yeah, like I say, this is just a few years after the Great Depression.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
I mean, so they made time for all that food, but then they thankfully got rid of the extra woman and child and stuck closer to the book in general than the
yeah,
silent film we were just talking about. But Scrooge, they cut back on his backstory too. Like, there's no Fanny in this one, his sister. There's no Fezziwig in
yeah.
this
No,
one, which is yeah,
it's really odd. Like because those are two really important scenes, and they just cut them completely.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess they've definitely made better use of their time than the silent one, but yeah. And obviously, the special effects have improved. We now have full scenes with fuzzy edges as the visions,
Yeah,
so you can actually see what's going on. Although I do have to say that the version we watched, it's unfortunately not the best preserved visually.
well, I didn't watch that version. I watched
Okay,
a version on YouTube that you can
yeah.
buy for, I think it was £3.49, so I don't know what that would be in dollars. But somebody's
Oh,
obviously gone away
okay,
and restored the film stock. So actually, I thought it looked very good, actually.
okay. All right. Then yeah, I watched the crappy version, and that's what's linked in the notes because
Okay.
it's so
But
look for the
yeah,
better version
there's a
that Luke's
version on
talking about.
YouTube that's available for like not much money.
Okay. But I thought that the acting in this was surprisingly good. And I thought it was a good score and it was overall well paced. Overall, I quite liked this one personally.
I don't think it's bad. It would be 2.5 out of 5 for me.
Okay.
Uh,
I gave it 3.5.
okay.
Um, although I was like, you know that I like the nephew, and I was like, he was less kind about Scrooge at the party. I'm like, this is
Yeah, he
not
was
you.
really quite
This is
mean
not
about
you,
Scrooge at
Fred.
the party.
Yeah, this is not you. You stick up for him. That's the point of you.
Yeah, that's kind of why you're there, Fred.
Yeah. Um, but I do like that they took the time to show Scrooge coming to the Cratchits to repent. And yeah. Oh, by the way, last year I was talking a lot about what songs they use because there are a couple that they use over and over. This one had Tiny Tim sing Hark the Herald. So
Yeah.
just for anyone who's tracking that. Did you have any other thoughts about these first two Seymour Hicks films?
No, I mean the one thing that sort of struck me looking at these and last year is just how many adaptations there are of A Christmas Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Just how far, basically as soon as cinema was invented, people were adapting A Christmas Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like the number of films, because I don't want to repeat this point over and over again, but the number of films we could have put on the number of cuts we've had to make to these
Right.
episodes to get them to a manageable length. Like we
Mm-hmm.
could be doing this for years if we wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, we are well, this is already year 2 and
this is
year
already
3
year
is
two and
in the
year three
planning.
is slated.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to talk about two more films, the two films named The Stingiest Man in Town. See you in a sec.
College football never stops. When college football news breaks, it breaks on On3. From the transfer portal to the playoff race to coaching changes, the sport is moving every single day. That's why college football fans turn to On3, a trusted authority with real reporters and real communities built around the teams you care about. Find all of your favorite teams and join the community. Get the full picture at on3.com. That's ON and the number 3.com.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care. Go to Dutch.com to get vet care that is always there for just $92 a year.
Okay, welcome back to The Stingiest Man in Town, which is a really fun title, by the way. And it's nice to have some films that are not called either A Christmas Carol or Scrooge.
Yeah, it is nice. just to differentiate them apart from anything else.
Although, don't let the title fool you. These are two very faithful adaptations as well, although they are musicals with the same music.
Although one is quite a bit shorter than the other, so it's yeah.
But they still fit all of the songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just like, this is just basically a songbook set to animation. So just to recap what these are again, and again, you'll find links in the show notes to find out more or to watch them yourselves. We have The Stingiest Man in Town, the 1956 live TV special musical, again, 1 hour, 21 minutes long. It was basically, it's an Alcoa ad, Alcoa being like a steel producer in the US. And this one was aired once on television and then thought lost for decades. And then someone found it in 2011. And so now we can watch it today. But in the meantime, it was remade into a 1978 50-minute animated, I suppose this qualifies as a short, also called The Stingiest Man in Town. This one made by Rankin Bass. And it's all the same music, but very much set to. So you've definitely never seen this, but one of my favorite all-time Christmas ones is the Rankin Bass "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," and it's sort of like that came out 4 years before this, and it's sort of like they're like, yeah, redo that film, but set it to this music this time, and this, these tropes of this story.
Yeah, for the 1956 one, when it comes up, Alcoa hour, I'm just thinking, oh my god, this is so Mad Men. Don Draper's going to walk on in a minute smoking a cigarette. But yeah, also, in that 1956 one, Scrooge is played by Sherlock Holmes himself, Basil Rathbone.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hadn't told me that was Basil Rathbone, I would not have guessed that was Basil Rathbone.
Yeah. There's a surprisingly strong pedigree to these because they are definitely two of the most forgotten. And I think the music is fantastic. I would say even if you don't watch them, it's worth. They did an album version of the music, and since it's not the whole television thing, they have a narrator that fills in the story. So the narrator just narrates the story, and then you hear the song, and then it narrates the story in between, and that's actually really lovely. I've been listening to it while I work today.
Okay, cool.
I'll put that link in the show notes.
Are you putting the little YouTube documentary in the show notes? The two?
Yeah, there was a great mini doc on YouTube. So many Christmas carols, Rankin Bass's Stingiest Man in Town, 1956 and 1978. I'll link that in the show notes as well. That was a great side-by-side comparison of the two.
Yeah.
I'll say music was by Fred Spielman, lyrics by Janice Torre. And I mean, I know the songs we don't have a thank you very much or a good afternoon per se, but I thought that it was very enjoyable soundtrack. If you're into 50s musical, if you're a Broadway fan, definitely look up the soundtrack.
Yeah. I think that there were highs and lows. it doesn't help that Basil Rathbone can't really sing. He sort of speaks singing
Right.
his songs.
Right.
And there is one between Belle and young Scrooge where they do like a little dance number because they're building a wall of gold between them, and
Right.
like the the actor playing Belle is just nails down a chalkboard. She is warbling her little heart out, and it's just so saccharine you could vomit.
It is interesting, though, by the way, that the wall building song is about Scrooge wanting to, it's so silly, the staging, but it's about Scrooge wanting to wait for financial stability, which was very intrinsic to the Chimes novella that we just
Yes,
talked about.
yeah. But yeah, like the song at the beginning, where Scrooge is describing all the reasons why he doesn't like Christmas, definitely a
Mm-hmm.
banger.
Mm-hmm.
The Merry Old Christmas, is that what it's called? The song that's sung by the narrators is pretty good as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so the narrators are the Four Lads, which were apparently a well-known, which in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, Canadian male singing quartet, and the membership would change. And they were also known, they were from Toronto, so they were known as the Autonorots at one point because they would switch around Toronto, or the Jordanaires. But here, yeah, they were credited as the Four Lads. They were great. They were great.
Yeah. And also, I love in the 1956 version, it does one of the best Christmas Yet to Come sequences that you'll see, because it's like got demons dancing around Scrooge. It's really
Right.
effective the way that's done.
Yeah, the dancing was incredible overall. Just very, like I would love to have been able to watch it with my grandmother because she would appreciate the choreography. This was a one-time TV special. They must have rehearsed it so much.
One-time TV special filmed live as well.
Filmed live, yeah. And filmed in color, but unfortunately the version that they found finally is in black and white. So that's what we saw. But yeah, just the production design overall, the costuming was gorgeous. That grave dance was fantastic. It was, yeah.
And also, I looked this up on Wikipedia. Basil Rathbone was in his late 60s when he was doing this.
Yeah.
So for a guy pushing 70, he was really really lithe.
Yeah, yeah.
Because this is only about 10 years before his death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting guy, Basil Rathbone. So he's mostly remembered for being Sherlock Holmes.
He also played Wolf on Frankenstein and Son of Frankenstein for other Universal Monsters heads. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so that's between. So he did a series of Sherlock Holmes films between 1936 and 1946. He also did a number of radio plays as Sherlock Holmes. And like mostly what he was a character actor playing slightly suave / dissolute characters. And he brings a lot of that energy to Holmes. Actually, he's also a bona fide military hero. He served on the Western Front with the London Scottish and was awarded the MC, the Military Cross, on the Somme. Did a lot of theatre work in the UK, and then moved to Hollywood. Yeah, moved to Hollywood in the 1930s.
Okay. Yeah, I know his career spanned decades. And I also want to credit the director, Daniel Petrie, who the other thing that I know from him, it's a big one, is the 1961 A Raisin in the Sun. That was him.
I don't know that.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a classic play turned film, and yeah, a quite good adaptation. But his son is maybe better known to some people, Daniel Petrie Jr., who is best known for as like a writer and producer and such in the one of the pioneers of the action buddy cop comedy sort of thing. Like he wrote Beverly Hills Cop and Turner and Hooch.
Oh, Turner and Hooch. Love Turner and Hooch.
Anyway, this was his father who did more kind of slightly more serious stuff, I suppose. And this special was telecast on NBC's The Alcoa Hour. Yeah, and I definitely see Don Draper like do do do.
Yeah.
And on December 23rd, 1956. You know what song is stuck in my head from this one, which I swear I've heard it before. Like they add some non-plot songs in here that are just about like there's a song about Santa, and then the one that sticks in my head is listen to the song of the Christmas spirit, can't you hear it? You
Yeah,
know?
the guy doing the YouTube documentary makes the very good point that the one about Santa sounds like it was meant to be released as a single because it doesn't. It exists completely outside of the story, so you could just stick that on a record and release it as a Christmas song.
I think the other one's the one that sticks in my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the soundtrack is great. You can just put it on in the background while you're like making Christmas cookies or whatever. It'll be perfect mood. Yeah, unfortunately, because of the whole history behind it, the copy that anyone gets to see is not much better preserved than the 1935 version, despite being 20 years later, and it is in black and white. But it is, yeah, that it's a good adaptation. It's extremely faithful, despite the musical element. And by the way, the caroler comes inside to sing "God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen," which is accurate to the book.
Yeah. This is a thing with Elysia. Yeah. This is the thing with you. You got it. The caroler's got to be singing "God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen." Dickens is specific about this.
He gave you the song. Just do it. It's in the public domain.
Also, I think it's like it is a great. The jokes about Mad Men aside, it's a great period piece of like 50s TV as well. Because I look, there's a little bit on the YouTube video we watched. There's a little bit at the end of Alcoa and all the useful things that made out aluminium in your home at Christmas, which I just thought was really endearing.
Yeah. Yeah, they take some liberties. Like Jacob has, Marley has a veil. His jaw's not tied.
I thought that was a bit naff. To be honest,
that whole exchange was like kind of like meh for me. But I would definitely put this head to head sometime with like the Albert Finney musical, 1971.
I mean, the Albert Finney one has higher highs and lower lows for me. This is on the whole,
this is solid.
This is consistently better, but it doesn't have "Thank You Very Much."
No, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. And as for the cartoon, like, do you want to talk a little bit about Rankin and Bass? Because this sounds like it played a key role in your like childhood memories of Christmas.
I mean, I suppose perhaps this is particularly American, but Rankin and Bass pay like most. I would say most Americans my age and older, or they were making these in the 70s for sure, into the 80s, 90s. But yeah, that was a key part of not this one though. This is one of the forgotten ones, the Stingiest Man in Town. So Rankin and Bass are the names of the two heads of the company, Arthur Rankin Jr. and Jules Bass. Although Paul Coker did the character design for all this. And this is like a lot of their classic ones, like the Rudolph ones, Santa's Coming to Town stuff. Those are in claymation. They're famous for claymation, but they also did a lot of 2D stuff, particularly working with studios in Asia. Like this one was done with Topcraft, a studio in Japan. And the Topcraft studio, their animators, a lot of them would go on to form the core of Ghibli, the famous animation. Do you know Ghibli?
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. There are like shots in this that are very Studio Ghibli.
So they collaborated with Rankin and Bass as Topcraft on a number of films, including my all-time favorite animated film, The Last Unicorn, but also "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," the one I was saying is my favorite Rankin Bass this style Christmas one. You can definitely see the direct influence of that on this one, the Stingiest Man in Town. They also did Frosty's Winter Wonderland, and The Hobbit is another really famous collaboration
Oh,
between the two.
The Ralph Bakshi version of The Hobbit?
I
Or
guess
is it
so.
a different version of The Hobbit?
The animated version.
Oh, so yeah, the Ralph Bakshi version then.
Okay. Yeah, and so this special first aired on
Oh no,
NBC again.
sorry. The Ralph Bakshi version is not The Hobbit; it's Lord of the Rings, isn't it?
Oh, okay. So this one aired first on NBC again. This is also why they had the rights to all the music and everything. And it aired on December 23rd, 1978, and then in Japan the next day. And yeah, it's a shorter runtime. What do we say? It was 50 minutes. 50 minutes.
Yeah,
So actually, it's only half an hour shorter. It's not that much shorter as I thought. But I think they, I love the animated versions of this story because they can do weirder things. They can have more fun with the ghosts and things like that. Oh, and we should say that Walter Matthau plays Scrooge in this, another iconic person. And his son, Charles Matthau, plays the boy at the end who he sends for the goose or the chicken or the turkey, whatever.
And Tom Bosley plays BAH Humbug. Do you see what they've done there?
Yeah, so that's another thing that seems to come right from the 'Twas a Night Before Christmas, this narrator, or it's very Jiminy Cricket, obviously, too, this narrator concept.
Also, again, the documentary makes the point that for the Muppets, they split the humbug role in half. So they have Gonzo as the narrator and Rizzo the Rat as the audience point of view. BAH Humbug sort of plays both roles in this, and he's voiced by the one, the only Tom Bosley.
Okay.
So you have both Tom Bosley and Walter Matthau sing. I don't think I'd ever heard Walter Matthau sing, and he's not bad. He's not great, but he's not bad.
I mean, I would say in general, they do the same songs in this one, but they don't have the same verve that they had in the original musical.
Yeah, again, like I feel like I'm quoting all the points from the documentary, but the guy did get it right. You can tell Walter Matthau is not comfortable as a voice actor. This is the only voice role he ever did. And you can see why he's not. He can't work out how to pitch his voice, so he's either like really overacting or really underacting, depending on the scene. And I was thinking I was really into this right up until the point where they introduced the Cratchit children, and they are just pure nightmare fuel. Like I don't know who drew them, but it is so weird and so off-putting. It's like proper Children of the Corn.
I mean, I guess I'm used to this. That is a particular, like I said, there's different Rankin and Bass. There's the claymation stuff, but when they do this 2D stuff where they work with Topcraft, that is a typical character design with like the cherubic cheeks and the pointy ski slope nose
and the dead glassy eyes. It's really weird.
Glassy eyes. I mean, it is interesting that this is 4 years after 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and it just, I know I should stop talking about that one, but this just feels like I enjoyed watching this. I'll happily watch it again, but it feels like a cheaper knockoff of that prior one, and we have to find a time to squeeze in a special 'Twas the Night Before Christmas episode.
I'm up for it if you are.
Okay.
Yeah, like, and the problem with it being shorter but keeping the entire songbook in is that it feels very rushed. At points like the whole Christmas Yet to Come is 90 seconds. Which is just, it's not long enough. There's a really cool bit where his gravestone turns into the devil, and I get that this is a kid's cartoon, and you might want to pull back on the Christmas Yet to Come stuff, but I think that done well, that done right, that can work for kids. I think the Scrooge the Netflix cartoon we looked at last year did that really well, and in a way that was accessible for small kids. So yeah, there are parts of this. There are parts of this I enjoy, particularly Scrooge pre-redemption. I like the
Mm-hmm.
fact that he's basically gaslights Cratchit
Mm-hmm.
into agreeing not to be paid for Christmas, which I thought was kind of cool. I like the bar humbug character. I thought
Yeah.
that was clever. But yeah, no, I was enjoying it right up until the moment when the Cratchit children arrived, and then like, oh man.
I mean, yeah, I would say in general, I like this one, but like if you're looking for a 50 minutes animated take, I would say, watch the musical version for the songs or listen to that audio version with the narration for the songs. And then watch, if you want to watch a Rankin Bass, watch Twas the Night Before Christmas, and you get basically the same vibes, fresh songs. And there's a narrator character too. There's a mouse there that narrates. But anyway, that's my. Do you have any final thoughts about the stingiest man in town?
No, only to say that those Cratchit children are going to live with me. Are going to live in my nightmares for a while.
That's not the part they meant to be creepy.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have discovered this Rankin Bass. I'm glad to have discovered the musical. This was overall just a nice discovery. This little corner of the Christmas Carol universe.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the one with Jim Carrey, and that'll be our last one for today. Okay, welcome back. We are talking now about, and I think this was a special request from last year too, A Christmas Carol, the 2009 version. I'll link it in the show notes, but you need a Disney Plus account to watch it. 1 hour and 36 minutes long. This is, by the way, I was surprised by this. If I search A Christmas Carol in Letterboxd, it always gives responses based on what are the most popular, like which ones are logged the most. And this comes up first in a Christmas Carol search.
Like when I was looking for the 1935 version. This was the one that came up first on pretty much every platform you use.
I was surprised by that because, I mean, sure, it's a fairly. I don't know. I don't know why it would be the most popular.
Because it's not like it's the most recent.
No, yeah, that's the thing. It's not even the most recent. It's not the one that I hear people talking about the most. But anyway, apparently, I guess maybe because it's Robert Zemeckis, who anyone doesn't know, this is the man behind Back to the Future, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Forrest Gump, a whole bunch of other stuff. He co-produced, wrote, and directed this.
I really, really, really did not like this.
Okay.
At all.
Okay.
I mean, it's not Clarence territory. I'm not saying that. Clarence is. If we go back to the couple of years ago when we did It's a Wonderful Life, that may be the worst thing I've ever seen.
I kind of like it was so bad I loved it.
So it's certainly not in Clarence territory, but I really did not like it. I'm really glad it's gone out of fashion. I really don't like photorealist or attempted photorealistic animated CGI. This film falls head over ass into the uncanny valley time and time again. It doesn't help that Cratchit is voiced by Gary Oldman, so they make Cratchit look a little bit like Gary Oldman. Fred is voiced by Colin Firth, and they make Fred look really like Colin Firth. And yeah, it's not a style of animation I like. It just falls head over ass into the uncanny valley. And when it doesn't, it comes across as cold and lifeless and a little bit weightless. So it's not even that I don't like this version of A Christmas Carol particularly. I'm never comfortable with the style of animation. And Zemeckis was a big fan of this, so he did Beowulf
Mm-hmm.
um, using the same technology. He did that Polar Express
Yeah,
thing
people
with
say
Tom
the same thing
Hanks.
about Polar Express. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, so I mean, it's I don't disagree with you. It is I gave it 2.5. I thought, it has a lot of people were telling me it's the most accurate, and I'll say it is one of the most accurate. It does make an real effort at accuracy, but to me this also shows that accuracy does not accuracy is not necessarily the most important thing in an adaptation. Yeah, we'll talk about some of the decisions that were made, but yeah, in terms of the art and animation, I think it definitely there's photorealism that's impressive at first, but it also looks dated by now, and that's the problem of this uncanny valley period
yeah,
of this CGI art. And the other thing is they did motion capture, but when you do motion capture to make it work, you can't just I think they underestimated the fact that you do actually need human animators to go in and make it snappier. As that's what Hjalti, my animator friend, always says. You have to actually tweak the movements so that they don't just look so floaty. Like this was just so floaty
yeah.
and
I, th- I
artificial the way everyone
I
moved.
think that's what I meant. That's what I was trying to say when I said it was weightless.
Mhm.
It didn't have any. Yeah, that's exactly like it was. Everything looked like it was sort of floaty and ethereal. And when that's with the ghosts,
Mhm.
that
It works
works
for
that
some
works
moments,
fine,
but
obviously. But when
yeah.
Scrooge is just walking down a street in London, it looks weird. And it also means that when you do use that with the ghosts, it's
Mhm.
less magical because your eye is already used to the way this character is moving and the fact that your brain knows it doesn't look right, even if it can't articulate what's wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it reminded me honestly of and maybe we would feel different if we had seen it in 2009 because we are coming to this, later, but um it reminded me of playing a video game and
yeah,
like the motions of the characters when you're playing a video game, like they're not quite walking on the ground, but you're like whatever, it's fine. Yeah.
yeah. It did very much look like a cutscene in a video game.
Hmm. But there was some great opening art, there was, that sketchy, opening, I like that. Um, this is, by the way, Disney's 3rd adaptation of this novel, so we talked last year about the other 2, Mickey's Christmas Carol from 1983 and Muppet Christmas Carol from 1992, and the cast for this is pretty insane. You name some of them. Jim Carrey plays, Scrooge and all 3 ghosts. I'm not Marley. Marley's played by Gary Oldman, who also plays Cratchit and did the Tiny Tim motion capture, which okay. And Colin Firth, as you said, plays Fred. I love Colin Firth. I love Fred. That's a good casting for me. Bob Hoskins plays Fezziwig. Robin Wright plays both Fanny and Belle. So great cast. I just think, in addition to the whole motion art, art and animation thing that we're talking about, I just found that sometimes the pacing felt a bit turgid.
Yeah, yeah. And I think my other big complaint about this is Jim Carrey for me is doing an impression of Alistair Sim. He has
Mm,
seen the Alistair Sim version of it and thought that's what I want for Scrooge. That's what I want to do. So the
mm-hmm,
voice is very, very Alistair Sim for me. And it's like if I wanted to watch the Alistair Sim version of it, I'd watch the Alistair Sim version of it.
mm,
I
mm.
don't think I didn't even realize Jim Carrey had done the Ghost, but I don't think he brings much to Scrooge. To be honest, I'd like to see more. I'd like to see Jim Carrey's interpretation of it because I feel like this is very much. I liked Alistair Sim. I'm gonna do Alistair Sim.
Yeah, and I think I wonder if this has to do with the motion capture, but I felt like the entire cast was holding back.
Yeah,
Like there just wasn't, and that's why I think that I have seen the criticism that this one doesn't have as much soul as other adaptations, and I think that's what it is. You feel them so focused on the technical aspects, which didn't age well, that the heart is not beating the way it should.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. And there are also bits that I think are just thrown in to show off the technology to best effect. So there's a bit in Christmas Present where Scrooge gets shrunk down to
Right.
like mini size. There's a bit, so he's like running away from mice.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bit in the Christmas Yet to Come where he's being dragged through the streets of London on like a satanic possessed carriage, and generally that as a visual effect that looked really good, but I don't really see what it added to the story. It just seemed
No.
to be there to show off the CGI.
Yeah. I will say one thing I liked the fact that the opening started with actually Marley's death, and you see that Scrooge, he's reluctant to pay for his burial, which you hear about in the book, but then you see he steals the coins from Marley's eyes, the coins for the ferryman.
Tuppence is tuppence.
Yeah. and like even the Undertaker's like, yikes, dude. I'll say the carolers are cringeworthy terrible, but they sing, "Oh God rest you."
Oh, God, you
And one thing I thought of for you is you were saying last year that you liked you wanted more of seeing around the streets of London. What did you think about how this film, a couple of times they did the sweeping shots
Yeah,
through Victorian London?
yeah, because like obviously in the original novella there are a number of different street scenes,
Mhm.
both before Scrooge is haunted, and particularly the Ghost of Christmas Present. And yeah, I thought those were pretty good. I mean, if you're going to cast anybody as the Ghost of Christmas Present, you can't really go wrong with Bob Hoskins. I
Mhm.
mean that is
Well,
just
no, but
the,
it was Jim Carrey was the
oh,
Ghost of
so
Christmas
sorry,
Present.
who was Christmas
Bob
Present?
Hoskins was Jim Carrey did all three Christmas ghosts in addition to
Oh
Scrooge.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. It was Bob Hoskins was Fezziwig. Sorry.
Fezziwig. Do you think this was Gary Oldman played Marley, but do you think this was the most horrifying Marley with the jaw, with the whole
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I'd say this one in general, it hits a lot of points from the book that others don't. But then, yeah, the pacing sometimes. But the jaw scene, I was like, okay, that's properly horrifying. Like him holding up the jaw while he talks. Is
yeah.
really,
And he
yeah,
can't get the right. I mean, I don't think it's meant to be fun. I'm not sure whether it was meant to be funny or not, but it made me laugh when he can't get the wrapper back on. So George just
right.
kind of hopping about.
um, I will say one thing I was disappointed, not to go back to dinging, but one thing I was disappointed was the Ghost of Christmas Past is I was talking last year, that's one that I really measure an adaptation by. How do you handle that? And still the 1971 one, that's the only one to attempt doing like a bunch of arms and all that stuff that's described in the book. This one was kind of a candle, but the delivery, again, Jim Carrey, made me giggle a lot, maybe in a way that wasn't intended. Like he would do all these moves with his head and hand movements, and I'm like, I'm not. Am I supposed to laugh or not? But it didn't feel. I didn't have the, I don't know, the gravitas or whatever. It just
Yeah,
wasn't
the
working
weight
for me.
to
The
it, the
ghost,
heft.
yeah, yeah, the
But
Ghost of Christmas Past was not working.
the one thing they did do really well was Ghost of yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, but one thing they did well for Christmas Past is they did changing faces
Yeah,
at
I
the
was
end.
going to say like
It was good an
the
idea,
sliding
at least.
faces. Yeah,
It's good an idea, at least. Yeah. Um, and yeah, the Fezziwig party, I'm glad they included it, but that for me was the silliest moment with the anti-gravity dancing. Why were you throwing this woman and spinning in the air? Uh, but I thought that the Christmas present ghost, very book accurate, sitting on the tall throne of food, and ages and dies at the last minute, even though we didn't get our minors. That I think 1999 is one of the only ones that does that. But why do you think they made the decision? I wonder if this has to do with the cost of the art, where like the older films we were talking about with Alistair Hicks, they show the visions as like a projection within the room. Like he never actually leaves the room. He's just holding on to the robe tie of the ghost
Yeah.
and looking on the street. I don't know. I thought that was a weird decision, and I have to assume it was made for financial reasons. What did you think of that?
Yeah, it is a bit weird. I gotta say, for the Ghost of Christmas Present, they do a really good job with the want ignorance bit at the
Yeah.
end of that. That was like
Yeah.
that was one of the few bits where I went, actually, that's an
Yeah.
impressive bit of animation.
Yeah, they added something there where they show ignorance and want growing up and what they would become, and ignorance, the boy becomes becomes like the worst kind of person you meet on the street, the bigot, or and then want becomes is they end up sending, it was a slight silent commentary that Dickens never made, but would have if he were more aware, I suppose, about women being sent to mental health institutions to basically get rid of them.
Yeah, I thought that was like, for me, the most effective couple of minutes of the entire film.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree from the perspective of commentary. I think I totally agree with that. From the perspective of spectacle, my favorite thing was in the Christmas Yet to Come, where a couple of times we see the shadow, like we saw in the 1935 one, but then we see like the ghost rushes out of the shadow, or later there's the shadow of the horse and carriages, and then suddenly these black horses come out of the shadow. That was some really cool
That was
animation,
pretty cool.
even if the Alice in Wonderland chase, as you mentioned, was kind of a silly waste of time.
Yeah, and I did think of you at the very end of that, because it did like the thing from the 1970, or it threatened to do the thing from the 1970 version of like Scrooge actually visiting hell, like when he
Right.
goes in his coffin, when he's almost buried in his coffin. It's like, yeah, the fires of hell, and the fires of hell are licking up.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, so yeah, they show. I by the way, I like, but just before that they do show the debtors being relieved about Scrooge's death. I think they've represented that well, about how they're not mean people. They're just like, oh, this buys us time to
yeah,
figure things out without this man. But yeah, the we have like the classic, clearly influenced by, the versions with the bony finger. Scrooge falls into the grave, as you said, but yeah, it's not like the Finney musical or the 2022 remake of that musical. It just stops there. It's just more like the book,
yeah.
basically. But we do get, like in 1951, when he wakes up the next morning, the maid is in the house the next morning. The same one we see in the vision, who's like took his
His
bed
bed
curtains and everything.
curtains.
Um, but she's like totally freaked out, like in the 1951 version. But then in the 1951 version, he gives her money, and she's like, "Oh, I'm okay now." And in this version, she just runs away screaming, and he's like, "Okay, bye." Also, what did you think about Scrooge surfing the snow off the back of the cab in his night clothes? How old is he? I don't. I mean,
Again,
I'm just
it's
worried
just
about
like
his knees.
it's
I'm
just
worried
like
about his knees.
we've got the CGI. We need to show it off to best effect. So
Hmm.
yeah,
But I'll tell you, the biggest jump scare for me was the last moment when Bob Cratchit suddenly looks into the camera and starts narrating. I was like, "Oh my god, he
ah,
just looked into my soul."
ah. Like I said, I really don't think it helps that they make Cratchit look kind of like Gary Oldman, and Fred really look like Colin Firth, because I think that makes the Uncanny Valley effect so much worse.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't mind it. I think it's because, like, there are other animated things where they do that and it doesn't bother me at all. I just think it's the level of that technology over time, because those were early days, and I suppose that's why Robert Zemeckis he was like so excited about it, because it was new. But it's come such a long
Yeah.
way. And he didn't it's like similar to what we see now with AI. Like, there is enormous potential for the technology. There is for motion capture, there's enormous potential, but you have to realize that it doesn't just do it on its own. You still need lots and lots of human hours going in there and taking that raw data and turning it into something that actually looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, any final thoughts on this one?
I don't think I'd watch it again, to be honest.
No. I mean,
Uh,
sorry to. I know some people love this one, so I don't
I
like.
thought don't get me wrong. I think there were
Mhm,
good moments in it, but the animation is just not my cup of tea. And like I
mhm,
say, I think Jim Carrey is a fine actor, but this is not his best role. It's
mhm.
too close to an Alistair Sim. His performance as Scrooge is too close to Alistair Sim, and it's too much of an impression of Alistair Sim for me to really enjoy it consistently.
So, how would you rank the 5 films we talked about today?
I would say my favourite was the 1956 version of The Stingiest Man in Town.
Mhm.
I liked it for itself, but I also just found it really charming as a period piece of media.
Right.
And I it will never not be funny to me that there was a time when companies could sponsor
Right.
the Alcoa.
It's the Alcoa Hour.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
every week they have something going on.
yeah, and I really like that, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see Basil Rathbone playing somebody other than Sherlock Holmes, because I don't think I knew he had done other stuff than Sherlock Holmes, but Sherlock Holmes is the only thing I've ever seen him in.
Mm,
Um, then I would say the '78 cartoon version, because as I say, I
okay.
was really enjoying that right up until the moment we get to the Cratchit's house, and it's like
Mhm.
God, that's really weird. Then the 1935 version. I just think the 1935 version is not bad by any means, but it does kind of live in the shadow of the 1951
Hmm.
version for me. I think it's like you can tell that this is a relatively early talkie, and you can tell it was done even at the time with a relatively limited budget. Um, and yeah, it's fine. But I'm not sure I'll go back to it. And then yeah, I really did not like the 2009 version. I just never got comfortable with the animation.
Okay. Okay. Um, I'm gonna give a tie to the 1956 musical and the 1935 um Seymour Hicks one. Yeah, both of those I was unexpectedly delighted by them both. Maybe if I have to, I would give the slight edge to the musical just because I think the music is great. Um, and then a third, I'm gonna do the Rankin Bass one. I think I would like it more if I weren't so familiar with a similar and better one, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." And then, okay, so that leaves, yeah, my 2 lowest are I think I'll do next the Jim Carrey 2009 one. Why don't yeah. I think I have the same biggest problem with both that and the 1913 one, which is that both of them feel a little bit bloated and slow.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, but I guess I'll do 1913 last, which feels unfair, but hey, we've saw a 1910 one that I liked better, so sorry.
Yeah, like I said, I'm always a bit reluctant to judge the
Mhm.
silent ones because I'm not. I know I'm aware I'm not getting the full experience as it was
Right.
intended to be experienced by the people that made it because you've not got the soundtrack to it. And I just think A Christmas Carol is inherently a very difficult thing to do in a silent medium because it is so much of it is about text and conversation.
Mhm.
I do think the 1910 one is probably the best silent version I've seen. I thought this was fine. This was okay. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't as good as the 1910 version.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about what's coming up we have 2 more episodes coming. So, yeah, because we did the chimes, there's 4 quarters. So we did the first quarter was the chimes breakdown. This is the second quarter. The third quarter is going to be a Christmas Carol horror, 2 ways. And so we have for that Carol for Another Christmas, which is a 1964 UN special from Rod Serling of Twilight Zone fame.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, so it's an hour and 25-minute long film. And it's kind of, I know, I haven't seen it yet, but I know it takes a more, I mean, you expect a slightly Twilight Zone tone, but it takes a more existential dread. Uh, it's from the UN, so you can imagine it's going to be in the 60s. So expect Cold War motifs. And then the other horror piece is it's a mini series. Actually, I think it's only like 2 episodes. Maybe I guess it's 3 episodes, 3 1-hour episodes. FX's A Christmas Carol from 2019, starring Guy Pearce, and you can find it on Disney Plus or on Hulu in the US. And so we're going to talk about those 2 together as sort of the horror tones reflecting from A Christmas Carol. And then part 3 is going to be the twists again, which are always the funnest ones, right?
Yeah.
The silliest, like it's a grab bag. We don't know what we're going to get. We've got coming this year Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. That's a 1962 52-minute animated special. We've got an American. So yeah, 2 of them are sort of America. Like we've seen American adaptations, but these are American adaptations. We've got an American Christmas Carol from 1979, starring Henry Winkler.
Hey.
Set during the Great Depression, an hour and 37 minutes long. And we've got a Western called Ebenezer from 1998, starring Jack Palance. It's an hour and 33 minutes long.
Really looking forward to that.
Yeah. And then we've got, had to have you were absolutely right. We were missing a Hallmark entry. So thank you. You found a brand new Hallmark adaptation, Christmas Above the Clouds from 2025, an hour and 24 minutes long. And there's another new one this year. I think we are going to be able to get it in time. I looked and it's, we should have it. But
do we know where that's streaming?
Yeah, right now it's like I saw that it's I saw in the US it's to rent for $5 on Fandango.
Okay.
And so this last one, I didn't say the name yet. It's called Christmas Karma, another 2025, about 2 hours long. And this one it's with the guy from Big Bang Theory, and it's the director of Bend It Like Beckham. And it's got some Southeast Asian, but in London.
And it's also got
adaptation.
The fantastic acting talent, the towering thespian that is Mr. Danny Dyer.
Who's that?
The cab driver.
Okay.
Danny Dyer is like a soap actor. In the UK. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I'm going to be honest. The reviews aren't great. I can't wait. I'm very curious. So
also,
anyway,
Christmas Above the Clouds. Basically, the synopsis of that is it's a Christmas Carol on a plane.
On a plane. Forget snakes on a plane. How about ghosts on a plane? Regrets on a plane. If you have any thoughts about anything we talked today or any of the stuff coming up, please email us at woolshiftdustpodcast@gmail.com. You'll find that linked in the show notes. And if you enjoyed this, please share it with other people who you think will just enjoy people geeking out on every version of A Christmas Carol we can find eventually.
And please go back this is the 3rd year we've done this. Mm-hmm. So 2nd year of Christmas Carol theme. The first year we did it was It's a Wonderful Life theme. So please go back into the back catalogue and listen to those as well.
Yes, and if you're interested in the book club content, those are on the Supercast and Patreon feeds, which you'll find linked in the show notes. It's the same content on both feeds. It's just your choice which works better for you. I'll say Supercast offers more options at a better price. So I recommend that, but I know a lot of people prefer Patreon. So you do you, whatever works for you. And if you can't do that or aren't interested, that's fine. We're just glad to have you here hanging out with us. And we hope to hear from you talking A Christmas Carol.
So, do you
Yeah.
want to mention the Discord as well?
Yes, and then also there's a link in the show notes to the Lorehounds Discord, where you'll find a channel dedicated to Wool Shift Dust. There's also a Christmas channel set up. Feel free to talk about this in both, and then you'll find everything else there as well, like all of the other things that we're talking about, like Frankenstein, Dune. There's on the Lorehounds feed, current stuff that's being covered now is, I suppose by the time this episode comes out, we'll just be wrapping up our It's Welcome to Derry coverage. And there's weekly coverage for that. John, Mark, and I, David and Nicole Deploribus coverage. David and Brian, historian Brian, did the American Revolution. John and I did a one shot for Talamasca. Jean and I did Predator Badlands and Frankenstein and Marilyn, and Nicole and I covered the new Wicked movie. Plus, watch out for the end of year top 10 TV and Lorehounds specific Christmas stuff in the Lorehounds feed. And Luke, what's going on with It Could Be Said?
Well, we were going to do our budget special podcast. The budget special podcast is still coming up. I think we'll probably do it. Me and Will, Simon will do it this weekend. Also, Elysia, thanks for reminding me about the coverage of Pluribus.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great season of Pluribus. So we're recording a bit ahead of time from when this will be released, but Pluribus goes on for quite a while, right?
I think it does, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's at least 1 week longer than It Welcome to Derry. But yeah, It Welcome to Derry has been really fun to cover. If you're into horror, if you're not into horror, that's definitely not for you. If you're into horror, I definitely recommend it. But speaking of, if you're into horror, I'm looking forward to speaking to you all next time for Christmas Carol Horror Two Ways, Carol for Another Christmas from 1964, FX's A Christmas Carol from 2019. And I hope in the meantime you get visited by 3 kind little ghosts that look just like Bob Cratchit's children in that Rankin Bass special. Bye!
College football never stops. When college football news breaks, it breaks on On3. From the transfer portal to the playoff race to coaching changes, the sport is moving every single day. That's why college football fans turn to On3, a trusted authority with real reporters and real communities built around the teams you care about. Find all of your favorite teams and join the community. Get the full picture at on3.com. That's ON and the number 3.com.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care. Go to Dutch.com to get vet care that is always there for just $92 a year.